Hello, so this is Exodus chapter 3. Moses maturing as a adult from the people that God raised into the preparation people for the Messiah, the one sent from God. And this is about 1,000 years before Jesus lived on earth. And he was the one sent from God. So, chapter 3, Exodus. Now Moses was tending the flock of Jethro, his father-in-law, the priest of Midian, and he led the flock to the back of the desert and came to Horeb, the mountain of God. So there are several mountains where God uses this mountain as a symbol, but here is the first one, and so it's called the mountain of God in this writing. Just to let you know, this is available for all people. You just have to go to the shop and buy a copy. Okay? So, Exodus chapter 3. And we're on verse 2 now, the second sentence in this book. And the angel of the Lord appeared to him in a flame of fire from the midst of a bush. So he looked, and behold, the bush was burning with fire, but the bush was not consumed. Then Moses said, I will now turn aside and see this great sight, why the bush does not burn. So when the Lord saw that he turned aside to look, God called to him from the midst of the bush and said, and so this must be a spiritual voice, okay, and said, Moses, Moses. And he said, Here I am. So he's quite naive sounding at this point, even though he's a tough guy from a tough place, he's still naive. And here it continues. And he said, Here I am. Then he said, Do not draw near this place. Take your sandals off your feet, for the place where you stand is holy ground. Moreover, he said, I am the God of your father, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, and the God of Jacob. And Moses hid his face, for he was afraid to look upon God. So that is the essence of God, that is too powerful, too scary for a human being. Okay? And the Lord said, I have surely seen the oppression of my people who are in Egypt, and have heard their cry because of their taskmasters, for I know their sorrows. So I have come down to deliver them out of the hand of the Egyptians, and to bring them up from that land to a good and large land, to a land flowing with milk and honey, to the place of the Canaanites and the Hittites and the Amorites and the Perizzites and the Hivites and the Jebusites. Not the Hivites, the Hivites. I pronounced that wrong. This is a really important book, so I'm trying my best here. Verse 9. Now therefore, behold, the cry of the children of Israel has come to me, and I have also seen the oppression with which the Egyptians oppress them. Come now, therefore, and I will send. So these are ancient Egyptians, pretty much thousands of years before anything today. So nothing to do with the same people today. It must be completely different people. So it's not worth referencing it to today. These are simply for our education. So come now, therefore, and I will send you to Pharaoh, that you may bring my people, the children of Israel, that's Jacob, whose name was changed to Israel. So the children of Israel out of Egypt. But Moses said to God, Who am I that I should go to Pharaoh? So he's afraid. This, who am I that I should go to Pharaoh and that I should bring the children of Israel out of Egypt? So it's like 1,000,000 people. So it's just natural what he's saying. It's only normal. And it's like a blinding sort of. He's trust me, he's really afraid. That's the context. Even though we're not afraid, he was, and I can't bring that across. I'm just educating us both. Thank you, viewer. So, and it says, so he said, that must be God replying. So he said, I will certainly be with you, and this shall be a sign to you that I have sent you. When you have brought the people out of Egypt, you shall serve God on this mountain. So perhaps that's saying that's where they will live, in the land of Midian, where he'd wandered to, he'd run away to, on a mountain there. And that was their first plan, that actually they never lived there. You'll see later that the people couldn't cope with God, and God must have known that, and so this is part of the education of these people, and then all the people who would read it, me and you now, and anybody else, and the education of the future of the world. So then Moses said to God, indeed, when I come to the children of Israel and say to them, the God of your fathers has sent me to you, and they say to me, what is his name? Now this is Moses speaking. What shall I say to them? So he's actually speaking with God. So he's not only naive, but he's what you call impetuous, like Saint Peter. He just says something. He's a character that just say anything at all. He's very willful, free character. So here we go. And so God replies, and God said to Moses, and this is a famous and important statement for all time. It's sort of beyond time. And God says to Moses, I am who I am. So that's the most important statement perhaps in the whole Bible. I don't know. It seems like it is to me. And I think most people would agree with that believing in God. So, and he said, thus you shall say to the children of Israel, I am has sent me to you. So this surely would bring across, God has brought that across to Moses, and Moses would bring that across to them spiritually. And the profound thing about God is that normality is brought to Moses, just a human being, and people hear normality and think it can't be God. They think it's impossible, and that is the amazing miracle of God in the Bible. So God brings himself, or God's self, to people, which is the amazing thing about the Bible, again, as I just said. So moreover, so I think we're halfway now. Moreover, God said to Moses, this is a huge part of the Bible, what I'm reading now. So moreover, God said to Moses, this you shall say to the children of Israel, the Lord God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, the God of Jacob, has sent me to you. So that's 3 generations. And then the next is Moses. As we heard in the previous video, he was found in a basket by the Queen of Egypt, but raised by his actual mother, because they tricked the Queen of Egypt, so she didn't know that she had actually asked the real mother of the child of Moses to look after Moses when he was a baby. So that was the previous video. Now we continue what God is saying to Moses, the conversation between God and Moses, this amazing conversation that changes the world. This is my name forever, and this is my memorial to all generations. They say that's the most important thing in the Bible, that God says, my name is I am, and I am who I am. And that's God, not me or you. Okay, we have to just take that for granted by God in this so easy way. It must be that we can't change it. So that's why God can say it so easily, because nobody can change it. So verse 16, go and, this is God is still speaking to Moses, go and gather the elders of Israel together and say to them, so this is thousands of years ago, don't forget that. Okay. And say to them, the Lord God of your fathers, the God of Abraham, of Isaac, and of Jacob, appeared to me, saying, so thousands of years ago, saying, I have surely visited you and seen what is done to you in Egypt. And I have said, I will bring you up out of the affliction. So he's specially chosen Moses, this impetuous man, to say again these words. I don't know why, but I guess it's not so. Maybe it's because we all need one leader. There isn't confusion about who to follow. Maybe so it's bringing it to a practical possibility. So God is perhaps, by choosing one leader, being pragmatic. And later on we'll see that Jethro, Moses' father-in-law from Midian, organizes, or he suggests to make different leaders below Moses later on, after they flee and they escape, they run away from the slavery in Egypt at the time, thousands of years ago, with different people who we don't know. So this is my political talk. Okay. And I have said, I will bring you up out of the affliction of Egypt to the land of the Canaanites and the Hittites and the Amorites and the Perizzites and the Hivites and the Jebusites, to a land flowing with milk and honey. So that's milk from cows or goats, and honey, probably wild bees. Okay. Then they will heed your voice, and you shall come, you and the elders of Israel, to the king of Egypt. And you shall say to him, the Lord God of the Hebrews has met with us, and now please let us go 3 days' journey into the wilderness, that we may sacrifice to the Lord our God. So this is the ancient peoples, so they have what we would call we would call it prehistoric customs, and they still did them in what I would call ancient time, thousands of years ago. So prehistory is tens of thousands of years ago, but ancient is thousands of years ago. So this is ancient times. And at that time they sacrificed animals to try and feel that God would help them, that there would be a spiritual help, that they would have energy to do things. And that sometimes, especially as I get older, as sometimes we feel we don't have energy. But it could happen to someone young or old, but generally it's as you get older. So that's why in ancient or prehistoric times they started sacrificing animals. But it's not something who believes in Jesus needs to do. And that is a message from the New Testament, not this Old Testament. Here they're still in ancient times, when they didn't have the energy they required when they required it. Not that we always do, but when they didn't have the energy that we have spiritually. They didn't have the spiritual energy, the life that God offers, as much as what Jesus provided. So, verse 19, but I am sure that the king of Egypt will not let you go, no, not even by a mighty hand. So I will stretch out my hand. That's God will. And so is the capital M with my on this translation, the New King James's version, which is for me is the best one at the moment. Their translations. So I will stretch out my hand and strike Egypt with all my wonders. So this is something we wouldn't do in the New Testament. We wouldn't hear about, and I don't know why there's a difference between the Old and the New Testament. That's why I'm doing this educational for myself and viewers. But there's a difference where the Old Testament has bad ways and the New Testament has good ways. And what's in between, certainly looking at them both together, it's ironic. And ironic is a wise word to remember for the comparisons between bad and good. Okay, so that's how I look at the Old to the New. But in general, the aim is to be good. But it's ironic that the Old is bad and the New is good. But here is the Old Testament, which is generally bad, but it's there to teach us. And so that's why we use it for education, and it remains the best education. So I will stretch out my hand, it says verse 20, so I will stretch out my hand and strike Egypt with all my wonders, which I will do in its midst. And after that, he will let you go. That is Pharaoh. So that's what God is saying to Moses about what he will do to get the Israelites free from the ancient Egyptians. And it's the ancient Israelites, not the ones now. Verse 21, and I will give this people favor in the sight of the Egyptians, and it shall be when you go that you shall not go empty-handed, but every woman shall ask of her neighbor, namely of her who dwells near her house, articles of silver, articles of gold, and clothing, and you shall put them on your sons and your daughters. So again, this is stealing from the neighbor, which in the New Testament that would never happen. That would be evil. But this is the Old Testament, so they did bad things. But the aim is education, and how do we go from that Old Testament bad ways to the New Testament good ways? And why is it written, and why does it help us? Well, as far as I can see, the irony is just for educational purposes. So you shall plunder the Egyptians. That's the last sentence in chapter 3. Thank you very much.